We're here with Dr. Richard Woodruff, Social Emotional Wellness Coordinator at Stockton Unified School District, and today we're diving into the benefits of esports teams and programs on school campuses. As we think about, stress, social wellness, support for youth at the high school level, what role do education-based programs, athletics, or activities play in your mind in terms of
Oh,
serving that?
I think it's a huge potential. And if you're not doing it, it's a huge missed potential. To speak my authentic truth is I barely made it through high school because of, super rough things that were happening in my home life. But I was still a gamer. If there'd have been ever any opportunity like this, school would have been my oasis. That's where I would have gone. And when we first started doing this in schools, we started because we'd had conversations with the CIF and working with them at some point. And so we're kind of mirroring their rules too. So, academics, attendance, behavior. So we put them in place, and some students who weren't showing up, thought that they could just join the team because they were the best players in this game or that game or had the best role, but they didn't meet requirements. So they couldn't participate in the fall league. And just the shell shock that came from that, but the community was there to support them and saying, "Hey, there's a spring league. How do we turn this around? How can we support you?" And just see students just totally turn it around, start showing up, start putting in that extra effort, and then they make the team the following season, and it's like a homecoming celebration where the community just comes together and just welcomes them. And you would have thought they won the championships just by being able to play. It was just an amazing thing to see. We find that typically about a third of every student population at every school, high school specifically, that we talk to, they're gamers, like hardcore gamers. Like
Mhm.
they're putting in hours a day for a specific game, if not multiple games. We find that like 75% of students play games, but maybe a little more leisurely. And that's a huge population of students who may not have that link, if you will, that connects them to school or anything. And I remember when I was, before I learned the joy of playing with other people purposefully, it was every person for themselves. We weren't very kind to others because we lived in silos. It was how good am I? I'm not really caring about how good all of you are because I'm probably better than you. That's the attitude we had, and that's super toxic. And to go from there to where I'm at now, I see a lot of our kids, they're playing in silos. And at that age, the propensity to become toxic, especially with some games that promote toxicity, is just exponential. And I see education has always been that kind of stopgap or that opportunity or that cushion to where we can enhance your understanding of mathematics, we can enhance your understanding of science and history, etc. What about social interaction? What about enhance your ability to be a citizen or a digital citizen? And I feel like that's just a huge opportunity that we really need to be tapping into because the kids are already doing it. And if they don't have the guidance and the support, the resources to do it in a very purposeful way, it's just doing a disservice to them that may actually be causing them harm.
As it pertains to young people generating self-reflection, a degree of mindfulness, social regulation, how do you view esports and the benefits in that way?
Wow, that's a powerful question. This might make me seem somewhat controversial, but I'm coming at it from somebody who's been doing this for a long time and more from an open-minded perspective is the conversation about young people in social media. And so there's, the Surgeon General just came out and said it's bad for their health at the age of 13. And I pose the question of why can't we provide these opportunities to our kids who are digital natives? And when I say digital native, that means that they've grown up, you know, months old and they're exposed to smartphones or computers or Alexa or Siri or other integrated smart devices. This is their world. And we're just kind of figuring it out now. We've been playing with it for years, but they're immersed in this. And so their digital self, their avatar, their persona that they have online oftentimes becomes more powerful or more identifiable to them than their tangible real self. And when we're throwing up these roadblocks saying you can't do this and you can't do that, instead of a why, or instead of maybe putting some guardrails on it of, sure, you can have social media, but let's make sure it's educationally based until you're a certain age. Then, we can do that because then by then, maybe we'll have enough time to talk about digital citizenship and emotional regulation and how not to. In my time, it was called nerd rage. I think the common term now is tilted, but it's all relevant to being toxic to where you become so frustrated you just can't stand it. And I do workshops for adults on emotional intelligence. And that's something I talk about is what happens when you're frustrated. What do you do? You know, you have to take a pause, you have to take a break because as you continue to be frustrated is generally because we're trying to do something but we're not changing. We keep repeating the same exact thing we're doing and we're getting more and more irritated that it's not working. That means the higher brain's shutting down. We're going more to that middle brain and we're more likely to rage, break something or something like that. But if we take a step back, 10 to 25-minute break, which interestingly enough, though that minute allotment has come from esports. So esports, all of the billions of data points out there, they've data mined and found that a break for 10 to 25 minutes can turn around a losing streak. And that totally coincides with my work in mental health. That if you're frustrated with something, take a 10 to 25-minute break, come back to it. You might have that aha moment of like, oh, I didn't realize I had to flip the thing upside down, you know?
What else is do you notice makes an esports team an asset to a campus?
Um, so like getting into like program management or team management or things that you would be doing in college or beyond, if you can be in a play environment, like let's just take League of Legends for instance. You have 5 people on a team that all have specific talents or abilities or roles that they need to do, and everybody has to be working together to get it done. Sometimes, like in the gaming community, will know this, I was doing a hard carry, so I had the whole team on my back because they weren't doing their jobs. And sometimes that's a thankless thing, but you have to do it to get the job done because that immediate thanks, maybe that's not what's important, but getting that degree or getting that project done or getting a promotion, that's the thanks that you're really looking for. And I think what we're doing and what many others can do is provide that opportunity for them to learn those skills in high school to whereas it becomes much easier for them as they move into college or move into the pros or maybe even just society at large. People who score higher on emotional intelligence indices typically score higher in life success or the propensity to have life success. And so if you're in multiple groups, multiple teams more often than you're not, you're probably gaining those social emotional abilities that is enhancing your emotional intelligence.